What an excellent day for an exorcism.
Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast.
I'm John. Fuck capitalism!
I'm Lindsay, trying to write horror novels because I was a weird kid.
The whole world is your urinal.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast. I am John.
I'm M.
Lindsay's sick. She could have having to watch this movie. Lucky. She's gonna watch it anyway, but who knows if Cobra's ever coming back, but much to his dismay, we'll be reviewing Cemetery Man today.
Yay!
For me, this is the fourth time.
Nuh-uh, the fourth.
Third or fourth, I can't remember. It's been a lot of times.
You've gotten that many people to review this movie?
Yeah, I put everyone through this shit. What is that buzzing noise?
My refrigerator.
Besides hearing it from me, do you know anything about like Rupert Everett or my best friend's wedding?
The first thing I wrote on my notebook was "Rawr."
Oh yeah,
'Cause
sexy bod.
The opening shot of Rupert Everett's perfect torso.
Yeah, you gotta draw in the lady audience and the manly audience.
You enjoy it too.
Oh, absolutely.
If only it were Billy Zane.
Put those two in a movie together, please, Hollywood. Please. I don't care what they do.
Well, not now.
And stick Pierce Brosnan in there too, as we'll find out in an episode in a couple weeks.
Oh, right.
This movie just kicks right off with the character's name is Francesco
Dellamorte.
That's right, and he is just blowing zombies away with his little 6-shooter. Just opens up the door, he's talking to his friend Franco, and just starts shooting zombies. And we don't know why. There's no real explanation for any of this. It's just, and that's why it's so cool.
The first line that stood out to me was when he looked out at the cemetery and said, "Life goes on."
I get the feeling this guy's kind of nihilistic.
Mm-hmm. Lots of good sarcastic, dry one-liners in this one.
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of like philosophical stuff going on in between people's heads being blown off and crushed and people's necks getting ripped out. So a little of everything for me.
Philosophy and violence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It starts out with what a zombie attacking Nagi and Dellamorte as they're burying another zombie that had just attacked, and it's.
Are you remembering this just from
Yeah,
your
I've
brain?
seen it 7 million times, but I still have problems like narratively with it. I can't remember what happens from one scene to another. What you got in your notes there?
Okay, so I'm looking on Wikipedia for a plot summary. But I'm also, because just today I was like doing more research and there were a lot more scenes that came up that I had forgotten about. So the basic premise is that Francesco watches over the cemetery. He's some kind of like watchman or caretaker, even though he's called an engineer by a lot of the people in the town. It's a small town in Italy.
Buffalora.
And
This is my favorite movie,
which
by the
really
way.
just means buffalo, I believe. After people are buried in this particular cemetery, was it within 7 days or 7 days after they're buried they come alive?
It must be within, right? Because as time goes on in the movie, some of them pop up immediately.
I feel like there was a consistent amount of time that it always was, and then over the course of the movie it started to be less time.
And also more because whatever the woman's name is who they don't ever give a name for, she her husband is dead for 2 weeks and then comes back. So
okay. So
it seems to be all over the place.
And the only way to shoot, so they're zombies once they come back from the dead. And once they come, and he calls them returners.
Mm-hmm.
And when they come back, he has to shoot them in the head, or bash them in the head, or stab them in the head.
The brain's gotta die. Like
The
any
brain.
zombie, yeah.
Okay. Does he shoot them with anything special? I noticed he was like carving hatch marks on the tops of the bullets.
I don't know what that was about. I think he was just bored. Honestly, I don't think he does anything special.
Makes sense. He's very unimpressed by all of it.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't care.
Very casual, very laid back.
He kind of just wants a raise at one point because he feels like he's working overtime, but having to fill out a form is too much work. So he just decides, never mind, I'll just keep shooting them. I don't care. Okay. Yeah.
And I feel like on the surface, this comes off as just a very kind of satirical, kind of almost slapstick sometimes, but
it's got some Three Stooges in it a little bit. With some bonking on the head and
until
stuff.
You get to the end, and at the end, I kind of went, "Whoa."
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, because it made me rethink the whole movie. So this is my second time watching it. So then watching it again, I caught a lot more little things that made me rethink it.
There's a couple of things in this movie. I don't want to get way too far ahead. My score is going to lower than what it has been.
Ooh.
Because there's some problematic stuff. I don't know if it just didn't translate well, but...
Are you going to cover your score history?
10, and then 10, and then 10. So...
Really? You've given it 3 10s already?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's why Cobra kept calling me Cemetery Man. Goodness. This is such a weird movie because this is what White Gold West would call a bunch of vignettes. It's a bunch of, like, scenes that seemingly don't really form a narrative. The narrative is just that he takes care of the cemetery. People die, he has to shoot them. And I mentioned to you that there doesn't seem to be an antagonist in the movie. There's no real villain. It's just he keeps having to deal with more and more zombies as they come. So.
And he's also, I think it's more of an internal struggle type thing. He wants to fall in love, and he also wants to leave the town.
Yeah, he's not happy with where he is in life at all.
Mm.
He also has an assistant named Nagi who speaks in, like, one word.
All he ever says is, "Nyeh."
Yeah, just grunts. Mm-hmm. But
he's a happy little guy.
Yeah, and he can understand him, too. Like, when he goes, meh, he's like, oh, yeah, you're right, blah, 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 blah. So.
Right. They kind of have an understanding to them. So one of the things I noticed was that he always, whenever he talks about any person in the movie, he puts the word living before. He says, she was the most beautiful living woman I've ever seen. Franco is the only living person I can tolerate, or something like that.
The zombies do talk to him sometimes. Like, they interact with him a little bit. So, yeah, I feel like he spent way too much time in there. Because he also says, at some point, you realize that you know more dead people than alive people. I'm sure that's not exactly what he says.
When he says there's no difference between the living dead and the dead living.
Yeah, that's after he shoots a living person.
Right.
So
do you kind of want to go through the plot and then...
I don't know.
I feel like there's actually more to talk about in the theory of everything than there is in the actual plot.
That's fine. There's no real plot to this. He just, every day...
Well, he sees a woman that he loves.
Yeah.
He meets the woman he says he loves. She's burying her
He
husband.
falls in love very, very quickly, like, all the time. Like...
Okay.
Which you said his struggle is that he wants to, so he does really easily.
He falls in love with a woman who's burying her husband, and then they have sex on his grave. The husband comes back to life and bites her.
Mm-hmm.
So Francesco thinks that she is a zombie and is waiting for her to come back to life. So when she does, he shoots her, only to find out later, because she comes back as an actual zombie, that she wasn't really dead.
So he killed her.
The first time that when he shot her, he actually killed her.
Mm-hmm.
And then he meets her again as an assistant. She's an assistant to the mayor. And then he meets her again as a prostitute, I think.
Yep.
And is told by the angel of death to start killing living
people who are alive, so that they don't come back. If you shoot them in the head while they're alive, they won't come back.
Right. So... Which makes sense to me, actually, why, whenever they buried somebody, why they didn't just shoot them in the head when they buried them.
I don't know, nothing makes
or
sense.
Or before they buried them.
It reads to me like bureaucracy, this movie, a lot of it, and, you know, it would make sense to shoot all of them, but that might be a waste of bullets, because maybe not all of them come back. Only some of them come back.
But it's a small town in Italy, how many people do you think they're burying, like, a week? Well, except for the Scouts. You got.
And they just think that's hilarious.
I feel like that's one of the liners. But who's Claudio? I wrote Claudio was an asshole.
Claudio is the guy on the motorcycle.
The biker guy.
Yeah.
The biker guy. So that's a whole other. That's like another storyline going on, that Nagi has a crush on the mayor's daughter. The mayor's daughter dies in a motorcycle accident with her boyfriend.
And Nagi knows she's coming back.
Nagi digs her up just in time for when she comes back to life, pulls her head off her body, and then she's just a head.
Yeah.
And they're gonna get married. That's the best part, is watching the head like skitter through the cemetery after him. That's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, he puts her head in a TV, and they just kind of hang out together. He plays violin for her. It's cute.
Is that... But, okay, so that thing that he plays has no strings or anything like that, but it makes noise. What is it?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Gosh, I thought you were going to have all the answers.
I have no answers. That's why I watch this movie over and over again. I'm hoping that one of these days I'll get something.
Oh, she moans when he shoots her, too. He shoots her and she goes, oh!
Oh,
and then falls back.
When he shoots okay, so the way that he...
When Francesco shoots the girl.
The way that he seduces her, first he just tries talking to her and lying to her, and that doesn't work. He's like, I have a degree in biology. And then, no, he doesn't.
I wrote stop creepy on here.
Yeah. He just keeps bothering her, and she wants nothing to do him, but as soon as he brings up the ossuary, which is a place in the ground where they put overflowing dead bodies.
No, they put overflowing bones and remains, not entire dead bodies.
Right,
it's they are illegal in the U.S.
Okay. She's all excited about this, goes in there, and there's just like corpses everywhere, and she's like, this is the best day of my life!
I love skulls! Yeah.
And then
Come to think of it, doesn't this girl, like, in every form that she is in the movie, and she's in the original, the widow, let's call her, the widow, the assistant, and the prostitute. In everyone, she says something horribly inappropriate.
Yeah. Well, what'd she say is the prostitute? Put your balls in the sink?
Did she say that?
She's like, wash your balls.
What? I don't even really remember anything that she says.
Make a wish, I grant wishes.
I'd have to go back and watch the scene when they were in bed together.
She's very clearly like a prostitute, and he's completely oblivious. Like.
Well, he's also a serial killer at this point. So.
Oh yeah, I did this time when I watched it. I'm like, I don't think I should be rooting for this guy.
Well, he was only doing it because the angel of death told him to.
Oh, right.
We sound like crazy people right now. We sound like crazy people saying these things out loud in words.
That's what you get when you review horror movies.
The movie was based on a comic.
Dylan Dog.
And that comic was based on Rupert Everett.
Was it really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Wow, that's weird.
The guy who wrote the comic was a big fan of Rupert Everett's before this.
And so that's why they were like, this guy has to be him.
I guess.
It works. He nails this role. Like, and Nagi nails his role.
Yeah.
Just eating spaghetti with his bare hands.
Oh yeah, there's the whole thing with the skull puzzle. How Francesco can never put the skull puzzle together, and then Nagi puts it together in like
one try.
5 minutes. So that's I was thinking, like, was he secretly smart, or is Dellamorte just stupid?
Combination of both, I think.
You think?
I think Dellamorte thinks he's more than he is, and Nagi is just a quiet smart. Like, he doesn't go around spouting off his philosophical ideas at every single moment. He just keeps to himself and is smart.
Well, it's weird because, like, he likes this mayor's daughter, and like digs her up just kind of like knowing that she's gonna like him, and you know what I mean, and they're gonna hit it off. Meanwhile, you're thinking as a viewer, there's no way she's gonna like him. He's this.
That's what I'm saying. Some
weird,
of the
gross
stuff that she says makes no sense. When she's like talking to him, she's like, "Ew, no," and then she's like, "Yeah, well, I like shy boys," and like,
yeah,
what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. Most of the women say things that are completely unbelievable, which makes me think this is all just a man's dream.
Yeah, we really want to hook up with women in ossuaries. That's what I'm talking about.
I think it's a man's fantasy for no matter what he says or does for a woman to be like, I love it. It's great.
But not to have a degree in biology? Is that it?
Whatever you got. She loves it. Oh, yeah. Okay, so he gets made fun of in town because he is supposedly impotent.
Right.
So that's why they're saying that he couldn't have killed... Who?
Which one?
I can't remember. The prostitute. He couldn't have killed her because...
Not the prostitute. It's earlier on. Oh. It's the original girl after the husband. Yeah. She's dead and it looks like somebody attacked her and raped her because Dellamorte couldn't have had sex with her because he's impotent. So somebody must have raped her and killed her. And this doesn't mean anything. It doesn't go anywhere. It's pointless. There's literally like an entire 20-minute segment of the movie where we delve into his inability to use his penis.
But then they imply that he doesn't have a penis at all.
Like he's a eunuch, yeah, but then the doctor tells him you don't even have one, so he shows him it, and he's like, oh, I guess you do have one, okay.
And he wants him to cut it off.
Yeah.
I forget why. Because
the mayor's assistant doesn't like erect penises. It's a phobia.
Oh, right. She was like, I can't be attracted to a man who isn't impotent. That's what I'm saying.
This segment is nonsense.
The only things that the women say in this movie are the things that the man listening to them wants to hear.
Why would a man who isn't impotent want to hear that she wants him to be impotent?
Well, he must have been impotent at some point.
I just think he says something about that to Nagi. He says, don't listen to people. They just say things and things go around. You just ignore them and they drift into the background. So, I don't think he ever was. I think it just got around and he's like, whatever, I don't give a shit.
Because he was never involved with anybody?
Probably. That's probably what it was. Like, he works at the cemetery, he's there all day long. He must be creepy. Something's wrong with him. Probably doesn't even have a dick. That kind of thing.
Well, and as much as he loves this one... Okay, so do you think that it is really this same girl that keeps coming back, or somebody that looks completely different and he is just seeing her as the original girl?
I thought that the first couple of times I watched it, I thought this had to do with duality, and that he was like living in multiple realities and just kept skipping through them and stuff, and he could never get out of this like repeating cycle that he was going through. That's what I thought. Now I think he's just seeing her and everyone. Probably because that YouTube video.
Well, that doesn't mean they were right.
It makes sense though. Like, but the thing that doesn't make sense is that the mayor's assistant would be like, I've loved you since I came here. That makes no sense. That would make more sense if it was duality and multiple universes and repeating life cycles. Like, she's been there before. She remembers it. It's deja vu. But it's been so long since she was there. And I feel like he's been there, not just like as long as this movie indicates, but like forever. Like, he can't get out of there.
Okay.
Like this.
So that plays on a bit of a theory that I have.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Okay, so, it actually came up. It came up in one of the YouTube videos that I watched, and also my sister-in-law is Italian.
Okay.
And this is an Italian film, but they filmed it in English.
Right. Some voices are dubbed, some aren't.
Right. So, the popularity of the film in Italy could have something to do with more of like a cultural thing in Italy and this kind of goes with what my brother and sister-in-law talk about all the time, that you grow up in these small towns or these areas or whatever. You go to school with all of the same people your entire lives. You're always in the same class with the same people. There's no like switching around. And so the people that you're friends with as an adult are people you've known since you were a child. And this is the case for like everybody. Like everybody has their group of friends that they've been friends with since they were little. So it's probably extremely odd, number one, that Francesco has no friends except for Franco, who we think might be a figment of his imagination.
Yep.
And also looks like him. But in the Italian culture, there's this thing of like, you're raised in this small town, you stay in this small town, you can never get out of this small town, you're always with the same people, you can't leave. Like, my sister-in-law has the same group of friends her entire life, and nobody has left. Like, they all still live in the same area, they work in the same area, they're still friends with each other, and that's like part of Italian culture.
Sure, that would make sense.
So at the end, it's like, I can't, he can't get out.
Even when he physically tries to leave, he still can't get out.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if there's like a supernatural element. I mean, besides the zombies. Like, I don't know if this would be like based in reality where there's zombies, or like I've also thought that maybe he might be in some form of purgatory or hell.
Mm-hmm. That would make sense.
And his job is to take care of these people who are returning, because you can't go back. Like, you can't go back to where you came from. You're dead. So his job is just to make sure that they stay that way. Like, maybe they're just waking up to realize they're in the afterlife, and he makes sure that they stay there.
Does anybody else interact with Nagi besides Francesco? That's right, the mayor talks to him.
But he comes to town with them, and they all sit around. He throws
thinking...
up on the mayor's daughter, and they leave.
I was kind of thinking maybe Nagi was like just part of his...
I thought that too. I thought that everybody he interacted with was like a part of who he was.
His imagination, or part of who he was. Franco is his only friend. Well, in the end, he realizes Nagi was a friend.
Yep.
Franco is his only friend, but when Franco ends up in the hospital and Francesco goes to visit him, Franco doesn't know who he is.
Well, he's talking to Franco on the phone at one point. He says, your wife's going to leave you, your kid's going to hate you, and then you can leave. The next thing you know, Franco kills his wife and kid, takes credit for Francesco's crimes, and ends up in the hospital, and then can't remember who Francesco is.
Franco killed his wife and kid?
Yeah, that he killed, because he goes in and he goes, I don't know why you stole my crimes. Killing your wife and kid, sure, okay, fine, you did that, whatever. But you didn't do what I did. You didn't kill those other people, that was me.
Oh my god, I need to watch this like 10 more times to catch everything.
So that's why I'm like, they're the same person. Maybe that's like him being trapped in
Franco.
He's like trapped in his own mind too.
I mean, you do see he and Franco interact when he goes down to the office.
But there's no one else there.
To the government office or whatever.
There's no
Which looks
one
like
else
our
there.
work, by the way.
Yeah, papers stacked everywhere.
That's another theory, that this is also maybe a take or a satire about bureaucracy and...
That's definitely in there.
Bureaucracy and corruption in small towns in Italy.
Mm-hmm. Because the second mayor, after the first mayor, gets bit on the neck by a flying head. Which I love saying that one.
Yeah.
The second mayor is like, did you fill out this M3 form saying that these things are coming out of the ground? And he's like, no, I didn't fill that out. And he's like, oh, good, you can deny it then. Just sign here and we'll just pretend that it didn't happen. And he's like, the town will be a laughingstock if they find out there's dead people coming out of the ground all the time. And I'm like, how? What? People would hear that and go, ha ha ha, that town sucks.
Those idiots.
But yeah,
Only they knew about the flying fire marshmallows.
What were those?
I don't know.
They don't do anything in this. They're around when he's trying to get laid.
Maybe
once, and that's it.
They're burning marshmallows of love.
Sure. I guess so. This depiction of the Grim Reaper is my favorite of any movie ever. And it's only in there for like a minute. And it looks like a puppet, but I still absolutely love it.
Yeah, it has kind of like mechanical.
Mm-hmm. It's just...
It goes like
it looks
that.
like it's breaking.
Like a Chuck E. Cheese robot.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the theory that he's cursed?
I think that is accurate.
He's cursed to stay in the same town forever.
And see the same goddamn woman. Maybe it's the only woman he ever actually liked, and now he can't.
Do you think he knew her before?
That could be.
She was a widow?
Like, if he's been doing this forever, since before we came into the movie, when the movie starts, he's shooting zombies, so he's been doing this for a while.
Right, but I'm saying, like, what if it's not, like,
it might not be cyclical. No. But maybe he just can't get the memory of this woman out of his head. I think that is probably close to what it is.
So do you think even the widow that he first sees, do you think
he's already seen her?
It's somebody from before.
Mm-hmm. He just, every time he falls in love, he sees the same person. That's what it is. It's not the same person. He just sees the same person.
I don't know.
I said that with confidence, but I don't actually 100% believe that.
I don't know what I believe.
I think everybody's trapped in this place. It's not just him. It's everybody that he interacts with. That one lady, the old lady, what the hell is she? What is she doing?
Oh, yeah. What was she asking him about every time she went to the cemetery?
She kept calling him engineer and it was pissing him off.
Right.
Then, at one point, she asked which picture would look better on her headstone, which I think she just loves being in the cemetery so much she wants to stay in the cemetery.
Was she visiting somebody or something?
Sometimes. I think she just walked around in there. She did at one point talk about the general when she was muttering to herself outside. And he was like, come again, stay a while.
So the Latin inscription over the Buffalo Cemetery gate reads Resurrectorus, which means for those who will rise again.
So it's like they know.
Oh, he's an outcast in the village and almost illiterate. What was the one quote?
I've only ever read 2 books. One I didn't finish and the other was a phone book.
Yep.
And he gets mad at Nagi for burning it because it was a classic. Just because the new ones came out doesn't mean you can't keep the old ones.
Is the phone book how they keep track of the people that die and come back?
I think that's what he's doing with it. Because it does show him a couple times marking them off.
This says he's almost illiterate. I wouldn't have gotten that. Opens up to his only friend Franco, a municipal clerk, but doesn't file the paperwork to get assistance. He explains it's just easier to shoot them. The young widow.
I think the motorcycle zombie is one of my favorite zombies. While you're looking this up, I want to bring that up. Ever.
I thought your favorite zombie ever.
My favorite, though, is the girl when she comes back.
That is pretty awesome looking.
She's got leaves in her head, plants growing out of her arms.
I would be her for Halloween for sure. So I saw a scene on YouTube again that I missed.
Okay.
When she comes back as the zombie and they start making out, which is gross. She takes the gun out of his pocket.
She knows he's gonna shoot her.
And drops it in the pond or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So does she even like him?
As a zombie, I think she just is doing self-preservation. Because she takes that one bite, and I don't know if she expects him to not fight back. Because she just kind of stands there and looks creepy until Nagi hits her in the head.
Do you think that the word rape means the same thing in English
That's
as
what
it
I was
does in
wondering.
Italian?
Yeah, I was wondering that, but it must, because she doesn't want to have sex. She does not like erect penis. But then she goes on about how wonderful it was.
She doesn't go on about it.
No, she does. She's like,
she says,
it was wonderful. And then we did it again.
You know, nicely. That's exactly what she said.
So does rape just mean forceful sex? Where it's like, I kind of don't, but I kind of do?
Let's Google Translate.
Oh, no. I mean, this is going to be the difference between my score and a lower score.
Then it's important.
Yeah. I just can't imagine that, the guy who wrote this was like, that's fine. And if he did, no, it's not fine, you fucking asshole. It's not.
How do I say what language I want to do here? I got it.
Okay.
To prayer means to rape or to ravish.
What do you think they meant?
Okay, all I know is, first of all, if they meant to exactly say that line, he raped me, but I liked it.
It's so wrong.
I have a million problems with that. But for every word there is in the Italian language, there's 50 in English.
Yeah.
They just have way less
Should have maybe checked on that one, though.
words. So I think if you would watch this in Italian, if you would have an Italian subtitle, and go back and watch that scene and see exactly what word they use to describe what he did. I don't know. That would probably change my opinion of that entire scene and possibly the whole meaning of the movie.
The entire movie?
No.
Holy cow.
Just that scene.
To me, that's just, if that's what it means, it's inexcusable. You can't tell me that it's fine. You can't tell me it's a culture thing. I don't care. My mom, okay, I'm going to go on a tangent here for a second.
Go do it!
My mom has been listening to this podcast where she's getting mad at the podcasters because they're going back over the top 100 films of all time as listed by IMDb. And they keep coming across ones from the 40s and 50s where the women get treated like shit, where people are getting slapped around, where racist things are being said, and they're like, this is not cool, I don't like this. And she's like, that's the way things were back then. But you don't have to like the movie just because it's a product of its time. So anytime that you're going to be like rape, and it's like, well, it was 1946, so, rape was fine. No, it was never fine. It was never fine.
No, and nobody in 1946 was running around in halter tops, so it didn't matter what we fucking wear.
Oh, good point. I don't know, man. Those ankles. Anyway, let's move away from the rape, please.
Okay.
After he finds out that we're going to actually go backwards here to explain what the rape is about.
Have we gone forwards
I don't
at
know
all?
where we are. He meets her a second time as the mayor's assistant, and she's like, I'm in love with you immediately, but I can't have sex with you because I'm afraid of penises. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't have an erection right now that I'm rubbing up against you. So he goes to the doctor, to get it cut off with, like, gardening shears, and he's like, I can't fucking do this today.
That, again, was like a very dreamlike sequence.
Mm-hmm.
There are
lightning striking in the background.
Yeah, it's like these certain scenes are just, like, out of nowhere and in another universe.
Yep.
Maybe his head.
I think. And he gets a big shot in his dick that keeps him in bed for, like, 6 weeks?
All right, he's got a fever and whatnot.
Yeah. When he gets out, she's there, and he's like, oh, hey, all right, yay. And she's like, nah, I got raped, but I like sex now, but not with you, so. And she's like, everything's good, everything's fine, everything's just the same, bye now. And he's just like, fucking.
So sad.
So he goes into town and finds prostitutes, and she's a prostitute now, apparently.
At least in his head.
Yep. And goes home and has sex with her and fakes an orgasm, which is funny.
No, he faked one of them.
His three. One of his three he faked. And then finds out that they were prostitutes, writes a check and sets the house on fire and goes, I'm done with love.
As you do.
Yep. Then at this point the sheriff, detective, whatever he is, captain, investigator comes and he's like, I got your check from being at the prostitute's house last night, but it's fine, we know you didn't do it, Franco did it. He confessed to it. And now Francesco's pissed because he's like, I don't even get credit for the shit that I do. This is bullshit. So he goes to the hospital to ask Franco why, and he also shoots 3 fucking people in the hospital. In
Franco's hospital room.
Yep.
Which is really just
a big empty room. A
stage with some curtains around it.
Which is weird. I don't know what that means.
That's another scene that just seems to be dreamlike from another universe.
He's walking down the stairs, and it's really weird how it's filmed, because the stairs are like a dichotomy of colors, like 2 different black and white, and they look like a yin yang, and it's weird how it's filmed, and it's filmed straight down. And the detective is like, someone's shooting people up on 6! Hey, you got a gun! Good, you can protect yourself! And he yells, Gennaro, it was me! And everybody's gone. They're just gone. Everybody's scrambling around, and as soon as he opens his mouth, everyone's just gone. Mm-hmm. And it's dead silent, which makes no sense. Mm-hmm. So then he just goes home, starts shooting shit, decides he's going to leave after the Grim Reaper yells at him. And gets in his car and drives to a tunnel with Nagi, and the road just ends. And Nagi hits his head, and then when Nagi wakes up, they're both switched places, I guess?
Switched because when Nagi, this whole movie has not said anything except for nyeh. Mm-hmm. He says, can you drive me home, please? And then Francesco looks at him and says, nyeh.
Yeah, so
they seem to have switched places, which makes me think they're the same person.
It could be.
But I don't know.
I don't either.
But again, a whole metaphor for being stuck where you are, stuck in your life, not being able to get out. That kind of thing. I mean, that's like the very basic of that ending, but there could be a lot more to it.
Maybe he's a manifestation of the gross part of him that everybody hates. And that's the part that wants to go back to the cemetery. Right?
I need to think about that sentence for like 5 minutes.
Oh, you're drinking.
Say it one more time.
Maybe he's a manifestation of the part of himself that's ugly and nobody likes. He lives downstairs, he's dirty, and
what part of him do people like?
Well, I'm saying as he sees himself, he's Rupert Everett. Damn, son.
Arr.
But
can't make that
But
noise.
the town sees him as a eunuch who lives in the cemetery and shoots dead people and is dirty and gross and...
But at the beginning, he's kind of like, he's really complimented by the investigator, the mayor, the woman that keeps coming to the cemetery.
The fact that the investigator says he wants to talk to his assistant means that they are two separate people.
Alright.
But I don't like that. No, I'm just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Also, they're in a snow globe. What the fuck?
Well, that was just foreshadowing.
Right, they ripped off, what is that terrible ass movie that everybody loves?
Krampus?
Rosebud.
Oh! Citizen Kane.
Yeah, fuck that movie. That's what they're ripping off. So they get that snow globe?
They, some of the stuff I watched also said they took stuff from Evil Dead. Alright, what's your best one-liner from this movie?
Oh, my favorite is when he gets out of the fucking, when he's in the coffin digging up the mayor's daughter to take a picture for the election, which is just ridiculous. And the cameraman's like, what am I supposed to do? Take a picture from the neck down? And he's like,
Because the head's gone.
Yeah, what's the meaning of this? And he just shrugs. And then he gets out of the thing and he looks at the detective and goes, plot thickens. That whole little scene, I love that, so.
I think mine was... Wait. There's gotta be with the Scouts. The motorcycle gang runs into the bus full of Boy Scouts, and they're
singing that great song.
They're carrying coffin after coffin after coffin after coffin of these Boy Scouts and motorcycle gang people into the cemetery all at one time to have like this huge group funeral. And Francesco and the investigator are walking the opposite way of the way that the coffins are going, and they're laughing their heads off, and he goes, they thought they had their whole lives ahead of them! That's probably, that whole scene is probably one of my favorites. It's so dark and twisted and disgusting.
I'm gonna have to plug that song that never should have went to the Boy Scout picnic. Let's just give our scores.
Have we gotten through it?
Yeah, we did.
Wait, I have my new scoring system here.
Okay. I'll go first while you do that.
Yep, go for it.
I'm gonna give this a 9.5. So close to a 10.
9.5?
So close. I really would like to know what the hell's up with the rape, because, see, when I watch Cannibal Holocaust, I can turn off the animal cruelty, and that movie becomes amazing. With this, I can't turn off the word rape. So when I watch it with other people, I try to talk over that scene, so they don't hear it. But outside of that, like, these have the best zombies, some of the coolest effects, some of the creepiest visuals, the most sarcastic, cynical, nihilist outlook on everything. It's just... He mentions things like, I don't know why they're so excited to return, because he calls them returners. Like, frankly, I don't know what they're so excited to come back for.
And he's miserable.
Just all that shit. I love it. Like, it probably says a lot about me as a human being, and I probably need to talk to a therapist about how my favorite horror movie is Cemetery Man. But I can't give it a 10 just because I don't know what's going on with the weird rapey rape. Other than that, to me, it's a perfect movie. It's exactly what I want.
It's perfect?
It's perfect to me. For what I want. For what I want, it's perfect.
Alright. I came up with my new rating system.
Okay.
Because I take numbers seriously.
Weirdo.
Yeah, how many have I done now? 3?
This is
4?
number 5.
Something like that, and every time I've just pulled a number out of my ass.
And it's usually 2?
I don't. Well, I feel like these next few ones are going to be pretty good. All right, so I have a list. Should I go down a list or should I just give my number? Should I do the list quickly?
If you want, go ahead.
Okay, I feel like these are my points.
Okay.
I feel like the plot was good enough and entertaining enough. I was very entertained by the movie. I feel like there is a really good theme or message there, not sure exactly what it is. The acting was pretty good, except for the widow, but whatever. The dialogue I thought was extremely funny in a lot of places and had a lot of really good kind of one-line, make you think kind of points. The continuity was not there.
No.
It was kind of crazy all over the place. The visual and the effects were definitely there. The sound and the music was really good. The character development was lacking, and the overall feeling was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of weird, kind of good, but kind of weird, kind of like, what the hell's going on? So, for that reason, out of the 10 points that I have, 7 of them hit, so I give it a 7.
Woo! Yeah! I like that scoring system. You know what my scores usually are? 6, 1, or 10.
Yours?
Yeah.
I might fight you on some of those.
I'm bad at scoring things. I'm really bad. Like, the Halloween series, I'm all over the goddamn map on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give a movie that I absolutely hate a 3 just because it's better than another one that's worse in the series. But honestly, they should both get 0s.
I feel like you go on feeling a lot of the time.
Yeah, sometimes I watch a movie and I'm in a really good mood and it makes the experience better. With this movie, I'm always in a good mood when I'm watching it.
Mm-hmm.
I find it to be, the more times I've watched it though, it goes on slightly too long. Slightly. It's only an hour and 36 minutes.
Okay.
I think it'd be an hour and a half and I would be happy. There's little things here and there you could cut out. But, I'm happy with it.
No, that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's my show, and there, I've made every co-host on the show watch it now. And Lindsay's going to tell us what she thinks next week.
Awesome.
So, cool! If you want to get a hold of us, facebook.com/horrorcasting. Horrorcastings@gmail.com. We are on Podbean, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And I just want to say that last week, I got to do a show with Top 5 of Death. You should check them out because they're pretty fun.
Woo!
Us and them go way back. We did an episode called Top 5 Movies That Are Better Than It. That didn't make Matt real happy.
Oh.
But yeah, we did an episode last week on Top 5 Horror Tropes draft. Like, we drafted people that we thought should be...
Horror draft.
Yeah, it's like a horror draft.
You should check it out.
Yeah! Did I miss anything? We're on Twitter. I think. I wonder how that's going.
Maybe log in one of these days.
I don't think so. All right, that's it.